Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are off to a fantastic start. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day and a new week comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 fresh new NBA player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's NBA slate. Last week, a bit of a mixed bag. We started the week off very weakly. And then we hit our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay, big cash. And then we also finished with a nice cash on Saturday as well. So a bad start to the week. We finished off very strong. Let's carry on that positive momentum from Friday and Saturday of last week and carry it over into the new week here and start off strong in this Tuesday slate. Without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into our Tuesday NBA player props. All right, guys, our first of 4 player props in today's video. And don't worry if you miss any of the picks. They will all be down below in the pinned comment. And you can also find a special link for the picks in the description as well. So multiple ways for you guys to go ahead and follow along with the picks for each and every single video here on the channel. Our first player prop here in today's video comes from the Warriors Magic game, 7 p.m. tip-off tonight. We got Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors under 5.5 assists, which I am grabbing for -143, best odds available to me over on Novig. Now, this first player prop is admittedly, I think I just had a stroke live on air. Admittedly, a little bit juiced here, all right? -143 over on Novig, -147 on DraftKings. So wherever you're grabbing it, it is a little higher in terms of the odds. The reason I'm still giving it out as a straight bet, despite the fact that the odds are a bit higher here, is it's all because of the pick itself, okay? It's a pretty good matchup spot. The data is pretty solid. If you look at the overall numbers so far in 2025, a 50% hit rate. Not great, but not bad either. He's averaging about 5.71 assists per game this season. Looking down below, potential assists, 9.7 potential assists per game. We kind of narrowed down the last 5 games, 3 of his last 5. He's failed to cash the over. He's cashed the under here, averaging exactly 5 assists per game over his last 5 games. So the data itself is fine, but really where this player prop is made is the matchup here. First and foremost, head-to-head against the Orlando Magic. Each of the last 2 matchups, now granted, these are both from last season, but each of the last 2 matchups against the Orlando Magic, he failed to cash the over. Both times, he cashed the under, 5 assists on February 3rd, 4 assists on February 27th, averaging 4.5 assists per game across those 2 matchups. So you have the head-to-head history. Granted, it's last year, different data, I understand entirely. But even looking to this year, now he is playing center for this Warriors team. At this point in his career, not exactly the spot you want Draymond as your center, but that's the small ball approach that the weird know, and some people love, some people hate from the Warriors. Now, this year overall, the Magic, the second best defense in the NBA in terms of assists allowed in general to the entire team. If we do narrow this down to just the center position, you do see they are 11th. So this is the overall. It's taking every game this year into account. Still a good matchup, not as good as the overall numbers from, second best against all teams, but still a pretty good mark. If we jump over the dashboard here on GuyBostonSports.com, and we do narrow this number down to just the last 7 games, we scroll down a little bit here and you see the Orlando Magic last 7 games versus centers, the 8th best defense in the NBA. So consistently all year long, they have been a team. They don't give up many assists, whether it be the center position or the entire team in general. But specifically looking at centers, it is a pretty good matchup spot. If we go down below here and look at what some of the past centers have done against this Magic defense, you see Şengün, he had 8 assists, a pretty big mark there. But besides Şengün, since November 7th, he's the only center who's had more than 5 assists in a game against this Magic defense. They've held everybody else to a lower mark here, so it's obviously very encouraging for this matchup. But even power forward, so if Draymond does play some minutes at the 4, only Kevin Durant, the only power forward since November 7th, who's gotten more than 5 assists against this Magic defense. So it's a good matchup spot here. He does have a 50-50 cash rate on the season, so the data across the board is solid. But again, the matchup makes the player prop. Yes, it's kind of juice. From a value standpoint, it's not the most valuable player prop I'm going to hand out in today's video, but it does have a very good shot of hitting, so I am going to go ahead and add it to the slate. Next up, guys, our second player prop in today's video comes from the Pistons-Hawks game, 7:30 p.m. tip-off tonight. We have Nickeil Alexander-Walker of the Atlanta Hawks under 20.5 points plus rebounds, 2 straight unders to kick off today's video. Nickeil Alexander-Walker under 20.5 points plus rebounds. I'm grabbing that for -118 over on FanDuel. And unlike the last one where the data was fine, this player prop, the data from an overall season perspective is better. A 58% hit rate on the season for this under, 7 of 12 games. He's cashed the under, averaging 20.67 points plus rebounds per game this year. Now, you can look at the data both ways. On one end of the spectrum, the negative for us here is the fact that he literally has been around this line every game. You see here a lot of cashes by 1, 20, 20, 20, 20, 19, 18. The lowest number he's had this year is 14 points plus rebounds in the first game of the year against Toronto. So he is hovering around this line every game. On the positive side, that includes the cashes too. Look at these cashes, 21, 21, 22. Even when he's hitting it, he's barely hitting it. The only game where he's really gone well above his total is their last time out against the Suns. He had 26 points and 3 rebounds. So we might have a bit of a sweat on our hands here, but this is a very good matchup spot for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Look at the head-to-head data. Now, again, we're looking at last year's numbers, but each of his last 2 matchups with the Detroit Pistons, he cashed the under. Now, granted, this is last year with Minnesota, different team, different role. But even look at the matchup data here. Overall this season, the Pistons, 3rd best defense. Let's look at the entire team-to-team data. 3rd best defense in the NBA in terms of points allowed. 13th best defense in the NBA in terms of rebounds allowed. If we look at the lineup here, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he lines up as a shooting guard. Now, it should be mentioned, Shai and Porzingis are both questionable tonight, so that obviously could affect some things here. Keep an eye on that. It looks like we really don't know as of right now. I'm going to say this right now. If Shai in particular does not play, this probably gets downgraded to a no play for me. I will keep you guys updated on that, but that's obviously a key thing to note. As of now, though, we are taking this. He plays shooting guards. Look at the defensive matchups here. The Pistons this year versus shooting guards. Now, from an overall perspective, the numbers aren't great. Okay, 22nd in points, 14th in rebounds to shooting guards. If we go over the dashboard over on Guy Boston Sports, okay, and we scroll down to that Hawks-Pistons game, and we kind of zoom in here. Okay, last 7 games defensively. Detroit against the shooting guards, 9th best defense in points, 3rd best defense in rebounds, 3rd best defense in assists, the 3rd fewest 3-pointers allowed to the shooting guard position. You do look at Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's been very hot from 3. This team very good at defending the 3 over the last 7 games against shooting guards. We go down below here to the matchup data, the recent performances from shooting guards against the Pistons. Now, you do have a couple good ones here. VJ Edgecombe for the Sixers. He had a very good game in terms of points plus rebounds. He had 25 back on November 14th, just 4 days ago. Kevin Huerter for the Bulls. Okay, he had 22 back on November 12th, again, a few days ago. So you have a couple guys who did pretty well, but look at the rest of these numbers here. A lot of unders. You see a lot of green here. Okay, so that's where you see that last 7 games, the recent data. A lot of guys have gone under on this line. The only 2 that have gone over 20 dating back to November 7th. So the last, almost 2 weeks now, only 2 guys. Edgecombe, which was the second time he had played them in a week, and Kevin Huerter. So those are the only 2 examples. Otherwise, everyone else, whether they're a starting shooting guard or a bench shooting guard, they have gone under when playing the Pistons here. So it's a good defensive matchup. The data overall is pretty solid. Again, keep an eye on that Shai line. If Shai does not play, I would probably downgrade this to a no play. But as long as Shai plays, I like this under. And one last point here before we move on to our next player prop, guys. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has failed to exceed 20.5 points plus rebounds in 15 of his last 19 games versus top 10 defenses for points allowed. He's averaging just 12.7 points plus rebounds per game across those 19 games. That dates back to last year with Minnesota, so take it with a grain of salt. Some of the data is not as relevant as we'd like it to be, but overall, again, it's a pretty good matchup spot here. Just keep an eye on Shai. And again, if Shai does play, I'll keep it updated on the pinned comment throughout the day. If he gets downgraded to out, I will void that play from our slate. We've got 2 player props left in today's video, guys, but first, before we finish up there, I do want to talk to you guys about the dashboard over on our own website, Guy Boston Sports. Ev, the founder, the man behind Guy Boston Sports, created this great tool to help you guys become better sports bettors and make some money in the sports betting landscape. He updates it daily with so much insight. I mainly use it in these videos to kind of show you guys the defense versus position, some other numbers here and there, but there's so much information. It takes really what you would need 5 other websites to go to find all these numbers and consolidate it into one easy and honestly good to look at play. Right now, we have the dashboards for the NFL and the NBA available, and I'm offering you guys a special promotion. Use promo code TASOS, that's TASOS, and you get the All Sports Dashboard member, which is the access to both the NBA and the NFL dashboard for $4.99. That's it for your first month. Normal price, $10.99. When you use that promo code, you're saving $6 on your first month of dashboard usage. Try it out for the month. You don't like it, you can cancel your subscription, no problem. But I'm telling you guys, you're gonna love our dashboard. We put a lot of work, and we're always adding new things. So anytime you're like, man, I wish this had this, It can add it. We can always add it. Always give shout to Evan in the comments and stuff. He can always add things and make new things. It's a great tool. We're always updating it. We're always improving it. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. Link down below in the description, or go to GuyBostonSports.com. Again, use promo code TASOS. That's TASOS. And you get your first month of being an all sports dashboard. That means you get access to the NFL and the NBA dashboard for just $4.99 for your first month, $10.99 per month after that, but I'm telling you guys, it's definitely worth it. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's video comes from the Grizzlies-Spurs game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going De'Aaron Fox of the San Antonio Spurs over 26.5 points. Now, I'm grabbing this for -102 over on Novig, best odds available to me. I don't do this too often, but this is one of those moments where I'm going to avoid most of the player data here, because it's not totally relevant. So the real reason I'm betting this prop here, first and foremost, I'm not gonna, kind of pussyfoot around it here, right? The big thing here is the injuries to the Spurs right now. It's the big reason why I love this spot, beyond just the fact they're playing the Grizzlies. Okay, you look at this injury report for the Spurs. Wemby, out. Stephon Castle, out. Dylan Harper, out. Those three guys being out is massive, because those are the three best offensive players not named De'Aaron Fox on this Spurs team. Okay, Devin Vassell, he probably has something to say about that. With all those guys being out, it puts a lot of the offensive workload on De'Aaron Fox. Now, we have literally no data to show what Fox's numbers look like when Castle, Harper, and Wemby are all out. We just don't, mainly because Harper's only been around for a couple of weeks. Even last year, going back to just Castle, no Wemby, De'Aaron Fox did not play a single game last season in a Spurs jersey where Castle and Wemby were both off the court at the same time. So really the only relevant data is to show what Fox looks like when Wemby's off the court. We only have one game to go off of this season, but in that one game, just 2 days ago, he had 28 points against the Sacramento Kings. The key thing being here, he played almost 35 minutes. He took 20 shots. He's taken 20 shots or more in each of his last 2 games with 8 threes attempted. And that's a game where they had Castle. They didn't have Harper, but they had Castle in that game. Okay, now you have no Castle, you have no Harper, you have no Wemby. That means it's basically Devin Vassell and De'Aaron Fox, and obviously Fox is the point guard. He's going to get a massive usage rate in this game. He's going to take at least 20 shots. As long as this game isn't a blowout, and obviously in the Memphis side of things, they're not 100%. No John Morant is out, no Scottie Pippen Jr., Ty Jerome, Brandon Clark, all the guys out for the Grizzlies as well. If it's a blowout in the favor of the Grizzlies or even the Spurs, that's the only area I get a little bit concerned here. But this is a very good matchup. You see the Grizzlies overall this year for points allowed, 21st in the NBA versus point guards, 20th. You go to the dashboard over on GuyBostonSports.com, and you'll go down below to this Grizzlies-Spurs game. You see the last 7 games, the Grizzlies 25th in the NBA in points allowed to the point guard position. So some really good numbers there. It's a good matchup spot. He's going to get a really high amount of usage rate in this game. You look at point guards, the last several games here. You see Peyton Pritchard, 24 points. Jalen Brunson, 32. SGA, 35. You've seen some point guards have some pretty big games here against Memphis. I think that with considering the injuries, considering the volume of usage, the matchup, all these things put together, yes, the data, you can find 100 data points here that tell you this is not a good number here for De'Aaron Fox. If you look at the overall data this year in 2025, he's only played 5 games. Besides the last game, he didn't cash in any of the other previous 4 games. But again, no Wemby, no Harper, no Castle against a pretty weak Grizzlies defense. It's a really good spot here. I'm taking my shot here with De'Aaron Fox over 26.5 points. And for almost even odds, the value is certainly worth it. And then last but not least, guys, our fourth and final player prop in today's video comes from the Jazz-Lakers game, 10:30 p.m. tip-off tonight. We got Luka Doncic of the Lakers over 39.5 points plus assists, which I am grabbing from -131 over on DraftKings. The data is pretty good here for the most part. 6 of 10 games this year, he's cashed the over, averaging 43.3 points plus assists per game overall this season. We look down below here, he's playing obviously a lot of minutes here, 37 minutes per game this year. He's taking almost 23 shots per game, 11 threes, 14.4 potential assists, a very high volume of usage. And obviously the Utah Jazz this year, a defensive nightmare. Not so much for their opponents. The opponents love to see the Jazz coming. The Jazz themselves being the defensive nightmares. Overall, Utah 28th is the 3rd worst defense in the NBA in terms of points allowed. The worst defense in terms of assists. We narrowed down to just the point guard position, which is where Luka is playing. 2nd worst defense in points, still the worst defense in assists. So it's a great matchup spot for Luka, who is, if you're putting him at a point guard, only I would say SGA is better. And again, that's a tough. If I had to start a team today, Luka or SGA, you could give me 100 chances to have that debate, and it might come 50-50. So I really do like Luka here in this spot. Great matchup. Again, kind of similar to the last one. The only thing that makes me a little bit fearful in this spot is if the game is a massive blowout. You could see maybe Luka gets pulled a little bit early. Maybe doesn't go as full pedal to the metal. But I do think it's a really good spot from a defensive standpoint here. We just saw last time out Josh Giddey just 2 days ago have 39 points plus assists, and that's Josh Giddey. This is Luka Doncic. I think it's a really good matchup spot here. So for the odds we're getting at, minus 131, pretty good matchup spot. Again, overall this year, it's pretty good numbers. He's averaging 43.3. Match your average, we have a cash in our hands here. So I like this spot a lot here for Luka. And guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. Until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Tuesday. Let's go ahead and make some money.